Hey, did you know you can go to colinmullen.com in order to get art and art prints? So I set up the website, colinmullen.com. So hey everybody, real quick before I get into today's thing, I'm going to talk about this painting a little bit because that's what I do here. This painting is coming along okay. At the time of speaking, it's Friday and I'm still working on it, and we're like mostly done. I haven't added the clouds yet, if I'm going to add them, and I'm not sure how I feel about that, but that's right about where I am. I just got done doing the shadow on the dude. Anyway, I was perusing art advice, a subreddit, and saw someone ask a question that I see quite often, and I was like, hey, why not make a video about that? And so that's what I'm doing right now. It was from someone who, they claim, I didn't see any of their art, but they claim that they've gotten pretty decently good at art. But the problem they're having is that they really don't have any meaning behind their work. Like, they'll do like a pretty landscape or whatever, and they'll be like, well, it doesn't mean anything. So like, it kind of sucks for that reason. Now, first off, there's a couple things I need to say. If you're watching this video, I assume you want advice, and the advice I'm going to give is from my perspective, the things that I do to add meaning to my work. If you're here, I also assume that you want to add meaning to your work. There have been multiple times in history where the idea of whether or not art even needs to have meaning has been brought up. So you don't have to have meaning behind your work. You can just have pretty images or, mess around with color or whatever, and that'd be totally fine. It doesn't have to be deep. It can just be enjoyable, and you can do that, and that can be art. But if you're here, you're wanting advice on it, so you don't know how to do it yourself. You haven't gotten there yet, and I can offer one perspective. This is not the only way to do this. Like many things with art, there's not one way to do this. There are several different ways. This is just the way that works for me. So when I'm making a piece, usually what happens is I try and think about what I'm trying to convey and how to do so. So for this one, I can't say the name of it because it'll get this video taken down probably. It'll be up on the website at some point, but let's go with Nightly Not Aliving. How about that? And so, when I think not aliving, in this context, I want to have, something that represents myself, because that's what we're talking about. And I want to have something that represents like a peacefulness. So if I want to instill that, I need to have a representative of me. I need to have a representative of peacefulness. I need to have a representative of not aliving that I can use. And I need to have all of that in one image. So a thing that I'll do is I will try and break down, okay, what are these essential elements, and maybe do like a word cloud sort of mentally, but if physically getting a piece of paper out and drawing like a circle around it and being like, okay, what do I think when I think of myself? Like, what are elements of myself that I can embody here, that I can have in this image? And then, when I want to talk about sadness and depression, what are symbols that I personally feel are representative of that? So, for example, if I wanted to talk about bad luck, I'm not going to show a picture of a black cat, because for me personally, despite the fact that it is a societal norm that black cats are bad luck, I love my cats. They're both black cats, and they're like adorable and nice and kind to me, and they make me happy, right? So, a black cat to me is not a representation of bad luck, and for you, similar things may occur. If we could talk about Dolly for a minute, not the AI, we're not talking about AI today. I'm talking about the persistence of memory. Go ahead and give it a look-see if I haven't put it up on screen. But there are several elements in this that Dolly himself wanted to try and use as elements of his piece. So he's got this weird creature that there's a clock melted over, and that is a way of representing himself. There's a clock that's got a bunch of ants on it, which is a common symbol for Dolly, representing decay. And then you have the clock sort of something that was once rigid, with the process of time becoming soft and not workable. If you want to go there. This will make sense to you if you know what I'm talking about. Suffice to say that these are, images that represent the idea of, time passing, decay happening, and that sort of thing. And that is helpful to be able to get across the point of what this image is about. So, for him, softness over time is an element that he wanted to add. He wanted to add decay to the image. He wanted to add himself to the image because it was a part of what he was trying to express here. It is surrealism, so it's done as weirdly as possible, but basically do free word association with the ideas that you're trying to get across. The first and foremost thing that you need to do is really get down to what are you trying to express before you try and figure out how to express it. So if you're trying to express your anxiety with the world, if you're trying to talk about how happy you are, what is happiness to you? What does happiness look like? I did a painting very recently with a cat in a window, and that is a representation of weekends, because it is a calm time where it's just the light coming in from the window, everything is still, nothing is happening, and the cat is able to sleep. Again, a black cat, not a sign of bad luck, but a sign of comfort for me. What are symbols that represent things for you? Symbolism is used in art for like ever. Most countries have some sort of weird anthropomorphized version, that's not a word, but who cares, a humanized version of their own country. You know, we'll have, if you take an example of like Liberty Leading the People by Eugene Delacroix, I'm gonna butcher that name, I apologize. Again, I'll try and get it up on screen. Probably with a censor, because even fine art needs a censor. Good job, YouTube. Anyway, the woman in this image is not a real person. It is a representation of liberty coming to France, and she's holding the French flag as an example of that, and she's also holding a weapon, saying that that's how it's going to come about. And then there's a pile of dead bodies, and there's a bunch of other just normal looking people joining in with her. That is, you know, the concept of the image. You can personify an idea through a person and then put that person into the work as well. If you can't have a symbol that represents anger like directly, maybe you have anger as a person who like is doing something to show their emotiveness. In this case, it's liberty, the idea of like freedom coming and bringing these people together. Liberty literally leading the people in this example. These are important in order to try and get across what the guy was trying to get across, right? Ultimately, it comes down to recognizable symbols that work for you and work for the audience. This will not translate well to every audience. If you look at a culture that is not your own or not one that is familiar to you, you'll see some symbolism and not get it. There will be a lot of symbolism, especially in older works, that just does not translate anymore. And that is going to be something you have to deal with the fact that, like, in 20 years from now, if you have an image of a guy with the newest iPhone, that is going to be not representative of maybe wealth, because maybe iPhones aren't cool anymore. Maybe that version of iPhone was well known for being really bad or something. Like, time ages these things, and it's why you basically need a history lesson in order to have any idea what's going on in a lot of paintings. I'm getting off subject. Oftentimes, also, if I can't get it quite down in the image itself, I'll try and help the audience out with a little bit of what the title is. You know, like, for example, this image is the one I'm painting is not super clear on what it's about unless if you know what I'm trying to get at. So if I call it something like nightly not aliving, I can get across the idea of, you know, a, just calm retreat into the dark on a every night basis, right? You start to look at the things in the image and try and interpret it through the lens of what the name of the image is. So thinking up song lyrics isn't the worst thing ever. It's pretty much how I name most of mine, is I go and try and name it based on an idea for a lyric or an idea for a song that I had, and then that provides the context of what I was trying to get across with the image. This is a long way of saying, what are you trying to represent? And then what are things that mean that in your own life that you can add to the image in order to give that idea? I hope this was helpful to you. If it was, let me know. If it wasn't, let me know. I'm going to thank all the people on patreon.com who are helping me make the art that I am and be able to teach you guys the things that I do, especially the people at the $5 tier or more. You guys are awesome. You get access to the Discord, and yeah, I literally cannot be an artist nowadays without you guys, and I am so incredibly thankful for that. So thank you. Thank you to my mom and dad. I love you. Thank you, Wap Fu. Thank you, Top Houndour. Thank you, Tom K. Thank you, Tiffany. Thank you, Thomas Few. Thank you, Terry Maverick. Thank you, Snoutpunk. Thank you, Skelecorgi. Thank you, Reverend Joe. Thank you, Retrograde. Thank you, Mortis Nautis. Thank you, Micah. Thank you, Maliciousness. Thank you, May. Thank you, Los Nevada. Thank you, Kayla Hollinger. Thank you, Gala. Thank you, Gabriel Bennett. Thank you, Dragon. Thank you, Chiptune Glitch. Thank you, Bubba Fair. Thank you, Blake. Thank you, Beb. Thank you, BD648. Thank you, Amber. Thank you, Alpha Lesbian. Thank you, Acrobus. And thank you, ants! Tiny ants this morning. Just enough to wake my upstairs neighbors up, but not enough where they can call code about it. Not that they ever have, but it would be funny if they did. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next one. Let me know what you think down in the comments and anything else you want me to talk about in the future. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.